Hello and welcome to my review of the Neurotyrant for Tyranids from the Leviathan box set for Warhammer 40,000 from Games Workshop. At present, the only way to pick this model up is through the Leviathan box set, but I have every faith that Games Workshop will release this mini separately at some point. And no doubt its price will be anything from £30 to £40. The format of this review will follow as usual, so I'll have a look at the miniature, we'll go through, I'll go through how easy it was to build, any issues I had. There are no spare parts for this one, so I'll go straight into the size comparisons with other Tyranid minis from the kit and outside of the kit, as well as some comparisons with Space Marine models. Then I will go through all of its rules. Now, you'll probably notice those two things floating about. They are called neuroloids. It's a little bit odd because they don't really have rules themselves. They're not counted anywhere, a part of any of the abilities. They just float about, so they're purely for aesthetic purposes. I would have liked to have seen them, you know, include a part of this. Maybe they kind of grow up to be Neurotyrants. They look very similar, don't they? Who knows? But yeah, it's a bit of a shame that they're not kind of covered, but ah well. Let's have a look at the Neurotyrant then. So here it is. Nice sort of psychic gribbly here. Does have two hands, two arms, I guess, and then two more appendages with like claws on. You've got a load of tentacles. You've got this sewage pipe thing. There are a few gaps in places. This doesn't go together that well, especially around there. I might have to get the green stuff out at some point and clean that up, especially there. Look, it doesn't go together that well. But it's also got these things, which I assume are brains. They're kind of pumping a lot of information to us at the moment with the brains for these different creatures being organisms themselves, and that brain has information, knowledge about certain other species and tactics and plans and things like that. So yeah, you've got a couple of like brain Tyranids in there. I'm not quite sure if they are these neurolids. They look different in that like I can't see the little claws that these would be attached to, so I don't think they're kind of like servo skulls and they just like jump on in there. But yes, this is the Neurotyrant. Quite nice. It goes, if you've got any zone throats and things, then it'll go very well with those. These are the neurolids. They are a little bit different. They only comprise of two pieces each. They go together very, very well, of course. One's leaning back a little bit, one's leaning forward, which is good, you know. And they're not exactly the same. So there are no spare parts, so we'll go straight into the size comparisons, and we'll kick off with the Tyranid Prime as usual. So here's the Tyranid Prime. As you can see, the Neurotyrant is sort of a third larger, I want to say, maybe even double the height of the Prime, but the Prime is bigger than the Neurolids. Compared to the Psychophage, you know, which is the big creature that eats all the psychic units. They're very similar height. I'd probably say the Psychophage is taller, and obviously there's more mass there. And then a comparison with the Screamer Killer, there's just no competition. Screamer Killer is much bigger and way more mass. Compared to units that aren't in the set, so here is a Swarmlord. That's how big it is compared to a Swarmlord. Swarmlord's a little bit taller just because of that blade, but the overall head is taller, and it floats a bit around. And then another comparison with something that's not in this set, the Dimacheiron. So that just gives you an idea of how big a Dimacheiron is compared to the Neurotyrant. Compared to models in the set though, for Space Marines, I've got the Terminator Captain and just a normal Terminator. That gives you an idea. It does tower above them, but you know, in the trailers and things, it looked like the Neurotyrant was huge, didn't it? It looked like it was like probably that high or something, and really hovering quite menacingly. But in reality, in model form, it's a fair bit smaller. And then the final comparisons I like to make just with the three minis. So if you're going up against Primaris, it's still going to be taller than them, but I was expecting it to be like that high. And Legacy Space Marines, it's fine. I mean, these Neuralids are just a little bit shorter than Primaris. Hey, this is my part of the review where I will go through all of the rules for the Neurotyrant. Quite a lot of rules for this Tyranid creature. So we'll start off with the points cost. It will cost you 105 points, not too bad. Model is equipped with Psychic Scream, Neurotyrant Claws and Lashes. Its stat line reads movement of 6 inches, so it's about average movement speed. Toughness is 8 though, so it's pretty survivable. It has a save of 4+, 9 wounds, leadership 7, and an objective control of 3. It does have an invulnerable save of 4+, which is brilliant. So 4+ normal, 4+ invulnerable. Its ranged weaponry then. This Psychic Scream, it's an 18-inch range, 2d6 attacks, potentially get 12 there. Ballistic skill, it's not applicable, but it's strength 5, AP -1 and damage 2. It has a number of abilities such as ignores cover, which means that the target cannot have the benefit of cover against that attack. It's a psychic ranged weapon. If it causes any unit to suffer 1 or more wounds, each of those wounds is considered to have been inflicted by a psychic attack, and it is a torrent weapon as well. So each time an attack is made with a weapon, that attack automatically hits the target. So that's fantastic. So it's automatically hitting things within 18 inches. Melee weapons, it's got the Neurotyrant Claws and Lashes. 6 attacks, weapon skill of 3+, strength 5, AP 0, damage 1. It's not the best really. It has a core ability of a leader. I've mentioned that in a number of my reviews, but it basically means it can join a bodyguard unit. Faction abilities, Synapse, I've mentioned this before. They can take a 3d6 battle shock test instead of 2d6. And then Shadow in the Warp. You can make each enemy on the battlefield take a battle shock test. Now, this is where we get to its unique abilities. It has Node Lash. It's a psychic ability. When the model is leading a unit, each time the model in that unit makes an attack, you add 1 to the hit roll. If the target is battle shocked, add 1 to the wound roll as well. So that's horrific. So you could combine that with the Shadow in the Warp ability. Psychic Terror, it's another psychic attack. If 1 or more Neurotyrants from your army are on the battlefield when you unleash the Shadow in the Warp, subtract 1 from the battle shock test, each enemy unit on the battlefield must take as a result. Very nice. And then Synaptic Relays. In your command phase, you can select up to 2 friendly Tyranid units within 12 inches of this model's unit until the start of your next command phase, and the selected units are always considered to be within Synapse range of your army. It is a leader, so it can be attached to the following units: Neurogaunts and Tyrant Guard. And the keywords: Monster, Character, Fly, Psyker, Great Devourer, Synapse, Neurotyrant and Tyranids. So there you go. It's a bit odd because for a unit that can fly, it can't fly, if that makes sense. So it's got the rule of fly, but it's not very fast. It just sort of hovers about around the battlefield. But yeah, got some nice weaponry there, especially that Psychic Scream ability. That could come in handy, as well as buffing the add 1 to the hit roll and wound roll. It really is a buffing unit. You're not going to get this into close combat much to rip with those claws and things. You're going to be using it to buff your whole army. What do you guys think of the Neurotyrant? Do you like the model? Do you like the rules? Please do put your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Be good to hear from you. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for watching. For the Norn Queen.